Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So in today's video we are going to be building a habitat for the Babirusa, which has come with the new Asia DLC, which is really exciting. So in this habitat I kind of wanted to stick to the very jungle theme, like the very dense jungle theme that we've got going on. So I wanted to have like a kind of wooden fence, I decided, just to kind of fit in with the Southeast Asia kind of theme we've got going on with the Asian buildings, as well as just like the jungle theme. So I had to get making a fence, wasn't happy with it, so I went back and rebuilt it. And obviously, you know, the Babirusa aren't that big, so I wanted it to kind of be, you know, the guests can just look over and see the pigs. So that was kind of it, really. We had this really nice patch of land that was next to the river that we've got running down from the mountain, so I decided why not put the habitat there, because then that way, you know, they've got like a nice little area to enjoy next to the riverbed. And you know, if it were real life, I'd imagine that they would probably be wallowing in the mud around there. So yeah, I was just spent a fair bit of time just kind of outlining the edge of the habitat, just so I could, you know, work out how many more pieces I needed to place. And again, I didn't really have too much in mind. I sort of just started this with the intention that it was going to be an outdoor habitat, maybe with a little shed or something. Nothing too complicated. But yeah, you can see me using the new like watercoloration tool there, which is super useful. And I just expanded that riverbank a bit, so they've got a little bit of like a wallowing area. And then just again, a keeper hut putting in place, just moving the solar panel across, and then that was our sort of keeper hut in place, which I have yet to actually do some building work for. And then once, you know, I sort of sorted out that kind of area of it, I decided I would continue with the wall. But yeah, the Babirusa are really quite cute. I was surprised sort of how interesting and cute these animals are. I have seen them in the zoo before, but I've never... I didn't think I'd like them as much as I have done. Just because I'm more of a kind of, you know, a dog or a big cat person than like a warthog person, I guess. And it's very fun to watch them just sort of go around their habitat. So I was trying to work out what I wanted to do here, and I wasn't entirely sure. I knew I wanted them to have kind of like an indoor sort of shelter area, so I decided I would kind of make them just a completely custom structure, and we would see what we get, basically. Again, this wasn't overly planned. It was just I just sort of winged it and just decided to make it up on the spot. But I was really pleased with how it turned out in the end. I thought it kind of looked sort of like it fitted in with the aesthetic of what we're sort of going for in this part of the zoo. So yeah, I just sort of copied and pasted the wooden logs over, and once I'd done that, I decided I have to sort of maybe make a custom roof to kind of match it. Which I'm so glad I did, actually, because it makes it look like 1,000 times better, but I could not decide for the life of me on the pieces I wanted to use for this. And, you know, I wish there were more smaller pieces in the game. There's so many just sort of like big, chunky wooden pieces, but there's not that many kind of like smaller wooden pieces, and you could just see I was just really struggling to kind of like work out what I wanted here. I decided I'd put these coloured beams across just to give it a bit of colour and kind of help it blend in with a bit of the theme, but then I settled for the small Australia planks in the end because I decided that it would create some quite nice roof tiles, and that was basically what you see me doing here, really. Yeah, I do think the game needs to invest in some smaller animals and some smaller pieces. It doesn't always have to be about building massive buildings. I think sometimes it can just be really satisfying to build something quite small. And I think if you had smaller animals to build smaller buildings for, it would be way more interesting than trying to like build massive habitats for massive animals. I mean, that's one of the things I'm struggling a little bit with, actually, with Prehistoric Kingdom, is the fact that the dinosaurs are so big, so the habitats are going to have to be massive, and there's just so much empty space. It's just, how do you fill this? How do you fill this in a creative way? Whereas I'm definitely much more in favour of having smaller habitats that you can go into town with a lot of detail on, which is why I like the Southeast sort of Asia animals packs, because essentially they are quite small animals compared to like their counterparts in the game. I was comparing them up for size, and the sun bears are really, really tiny. And so the clouded leopards are the same size as the snow leopards. They're all very, very small, like compared to the lions and tigers and stuff we have in the game. So to sort of blend in with the jungle theme, I decided I wanted this shed to be very sort of like dilapidated and maybe missing a few roof tiles and things. So that's what you can see me doing here. So the holes in the roof were completely intentional. And I actually really like how it looks. Once I get the roots looking like they're coming through the roof of the building, it looks really like it's been overgrown and nature's just completely taking over, which is kind of what I was going for. I was a little bit lazy here. I did copy and paste it, but I could not be bothered placing a load more tiles in the same shape again, so I just got rid of some of the wooden logs on there, make it sort of look like it was falling apart a bit, and that was kind of the theme, I guess, that I went for in the end with this habitat. It was going to be like a bit of a jungle ruin kind of a thing. So one of the cool things they have introduced with the new update is the enrichment item of the small tamarind tree, which can be used as a rubbing tree for the animals, which I think is really cool. So that's that tree that's just sort of I placed like first in the habitat. It's sort of like the one near the building is the tamarind like rubbing tree, that one there. So yeah, I wanted it to maybe feel like maybe an abandoned Asian village, perhaps, somewhere in the jungles, and I just went to town with the vegetation. Now, this is way too much vegetation for the Babirusa, but you know what? I really like how it looks, so they're just going to have to learn to love their new heavily vegetated habitat. So yeah, I decided to put a tree on the top of the building here just to try and make it look like it's kind of overgrowing and coming through the roof. And I think it did a good job. I think it sort of, is portraying what I wanted it to portray, which is a good thing. And then, yeah, obviously they like the grassland habitat, so it was really nice to have some of the goldenrods in the habitat as well. It just really makes the colour pop. And again, I had to make sure that the outside of the habitat was blending in with the habitat to try and continue the theme that we've got going on for the mountain, which is sort of like Jungle Mountain, I guess. And again, just stacking the plants to make them look a bit more entertaining. Yeah, it's all pretty self-explanatory, to be honest. I'm thinking I'm going to probably be building maybe the sun bear habitat or the dhole habitat next. I wasn't entirely sure where, on where the Babirusa habitat should go. I had initially intended that it would go next to the binturong habitat, but I've decided it just works better here. It just looks a lot more natural. So yeah, this is some of the aquatic rocks, some of the ruined pieces from the South American pack. Just trying to make this maybe look like it was once a shrine that has just been lost to nature. I really, really do have a soft spot for doing kind of just this jungle, dilapidated, overgrown kind of theme. So it's just kind of what I was aiming for, really. Just maybe have it look like it's fallen down a little bit. Add some more ruined pieces in, and it's all in the little details. It's all in that little kind of the details, trying to make it look like that's how it should look. I was a bit concerned they might not be able to get into the habitat, so I moved some of the plants around, and then I stole the shelter that I built last time and just merged it over. Now, I do love these aquatic pieces. I love how you can merge them completely and make little steps on these like the mud pool and the foraging habitat bit, and probably even the swimming pool as well for the dingoes. I do love the fact that you can do this, and I just think, again, if you get the colour exactly matching, it just blends in so well. So adding a bit of green just to add a bit more colour to it. Some of the mossy rocks. Obviously I do want to add some natural rocks rather than the aquatic rocks. I am going a bit overboard with the aquatic rocks, I think, at the moment. But yeah, it was really coming together really quite nicely, and I think it looks amazing when they're in it. We've got this real sort of dense rainforest aesthetic for this mountain, which is what I was going for. So I think the theming is remaining, and it's not getting a little bit jumbled up. It's looking how it should do, which is really good. Yeah, and then we have the Babirusa that are in there, and they're just sort of, again, seeing how they move around some of the rocks and things, and just, yeah, checking if they had any issues. They had a bit of an issue with that South American tree, but that's it. So that's pretty much the habitat, and I will leave you guys with the cinematics and the little walk around tour. I hope you enjoyed this video, and stay tuned for the next one. So take care guys, and I'll see you then.